Feeling stuck in a rut? Wishing for a more meaningful existence but unsure where to start? Many of us search for complex solutions when the answer lies in plain sight. We dream of grand gestures, of epic journeys to distant lands, of radical career changes or dramatic overhauls of our personality, believing that the key to a profound life must be equally profound and complex. We spend our days chasing a future state of peace, convinced that it lies on the other side of a bigger accomplishment, a better relationship, or a fatter bank account. And in this chase, the days themselves blur into a monotonous landscape of obligations and distractions, leaving us feeling drained, uninspired, and perpetually waiting for our real lives to begin. But what if the great masters of the soul, the Sufi sages of old, knew a secret that we have forgotten? What if they knew that the most direct path to a meaningful life is not through a grand escape, but through a radical transformation of the very moments we are trying to escape from? This video will show you how to effortlessly integrate small, powerful rituals into your day, transforming monotony into profound personal growth and unlocking a level of inner peace you never thought possible. This is not about adding more to your already overflowing to-do list. It is about subtracting the noise and adding a single, potent ingredient to the things you already do: sacred intention. This is an invitation to discover the hidden architecture of your own life and to become its conscious, loving architect. The first and startling truth we must confront is that our lives are already governed by rituals. We are, by nature, creatures of habit and rhythm. The problem is not a lack of rituals, but a lack of awareness of the ones that are already running our lives, often into the ground. Take a moment to consider the hidden architecture of your own day. For millions of us, the very first act upon waking is not a prayer or a deep breath, but a ritual of submission to the digital stream. We reach for our phones, and for the next 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes, we offer our most precious, creative, and peaceful state of mind, the post-sleep consciousness, as a sacrifice to the gods of distraction. We scroll through a chaotic feed of curated outrage, manufactured desire, and the highlight reels of other people's lives. This is not a neutral habit. It is a ritual. It has a trigger, the alarm, a process, opening the app, scrolling, and a reward, a hit of dopamine, a temporary numbing of our own anxieties. If you spend just 15 minutes each morning in this ritual, you are dedicating over 90 hours a year, 2 full work weeks, to an activity that actively primes your brain for anxiety, comparison, and distraction. This is the unconscious architecture at work. Seemingly insignificant daily acts, when repeated, compound over time to shape the very fabric of our reality, the very quality of our consciousness.
Now, contrast this with another common ritual, the morning coffee or tea. For many, this is a purely automatic habit. It is a functional process to deliver caffeine into the bloodstream. It is done while checking emails, listening to the news, rushing the kids out the door. It is an act without presence, a habit without a soul. But what is the critical difference between the mindless scroll and the mindless coffee? Functionally, very little. Both are automatic programs we run to get through the day. But this reveals the crucial distinction that the Sufi masters placed at the very center of a meaningful life: the difference between a habit and a ritual. A habit is an action performed on autopilot. It is the brain's brilliant way of conserving energy. You don't have to consciously think about how to tie your shoes or brush your teeth. The action is stored in the basal ganglia, freeing up your prefrontal cortex, your center for conscious decision-making, for other tasks. This is efficiency, and it is necessary for survival. But a life lived entirely on habit is a life lived asleep. A ritual, in the Sufi understanding, is a habit that has been awakened. It is a mundane action that has been consciously infused with a single alchemical ingredient, niyyah, or sacred intention. It is the act of transforming a behavior from a mindless what into a mindful why. The great 11th century philosopher and mystic, Imam al-Ghazali, dedicated much of his work to this very idea. He taught that any act, no matter how ordinary, eating, sleeping, working, even bathing, could be turned into an act of worship, a source of light, if it was preceded by a conscious intention to connect with a higher purpose. The action itself might be identical, but its inner reality, its spiritual weight, is completely transformed. The secret to a sacred life, he taught, was not to do different things, but to do the things you already do with a different heart.
Now, contrast this with another common ritual, the morning coffee or tea. For many, this is a purely automatic habit. It is a functional process to deliver caffeine into the bloodstream. It is done while checking emails, listening to the news, rushing the kids out the door. It is an act without presence, a habit without a soul. But what is the critical difference between the mindless scroll and the mindless coffee? Functionally, very little. Both are automatic programs we run to get through the day. But this reveals the crucial distinction that the Sufi masters placed at the very center of a meaningful life: the difference between a habit and a ritual. A habit is an action performed on autopilot. It is the brain's brilliant way of conserving energy. You don't have to consciously think about how to tie your shoes or brush your teeth. The action is stored in the basal ganglia, freeing up your prefrontal cortex, your center for conscious decision-making, for other tasks. This is efficiency, and it is necessary for survival. But a life lived entirely on habit is a life lived asleep. A ritual, in the Sufi understanding, is a habit that has been awakened. It is a mundane action that has been consciously infused with a single alchemical ingredient, niyyah, or sacred intention. It is the act of transforming a behavior from a mindless what into a mindful why. The great 11th century philosopher and mystic, Imam al-Ghazali, dedicated much of his work to this very idea. He taught that any act, no matter how ordinary, eating, sleeping, working, even bathing, could be turned into an act of worship, a source of light, if it was preceded by a conscious intention to connect with a higher purpose. The action itself might be identical, but its inner reality, its spiritual weight, is completely transformed. The secret to a sacred life, he taught, was not to do different things, but to do the things you already do with a different heart.
This ancient spiritual insight is now being validated by modern neuroscience, offering us a powerful, evidence-based framework for understanding why this works. Our brains are constantly seeking to reduce what scientists call cognitive load. The modern world bombards us with an unprecedented number of choices, from what to eat for breakfast to which of 1,000 emails to answer first. This constant decision-making is utterly exhausting for the prefrontal cortex. It leads to decision fatigue, anxiety, and a feeling of being perpetually overwhelmed. This is the science of chaos. Routines and structures are the brain's natural antidote to this chaos. They create predictable patterns that automate decision-making and dramatically reduce cognitive load. This is why you'll find that the world's most successful high performers, from elite athletes to world-class artists and groundbreaking entrepreneurs, are often creatures of unshakable daily rituals. An athlete's pre-game routine is not just a superstition. It's a neurological and psychological tool to quiet the conscious mind, enter a state of flow, and activate muscle memory. A writer's ritual of sitting down at the same time, with the same cup of tea, in the same chair, is a way of signaling to the brain that it's time to create, bypassing the friction of creative anxiety. These modern examples are secular versions of what the Sufis have practiced for centuries. A Sufi's day is often built around the 5 prayers. These are not seen as burdensome obligations, but as the 5 great pillars that give the entire day its structure and meaning. They are the primary anchors in the hidden architecture. They break the day into manageable sections, preventing the endless, unstructured chaos that breeds anxiety. Between these pillars, other smaller, intentional rituals are woven. The ritual of eating with gratitude, the ritual of speaking with kindness, the ritual of working with excellence. This structure provides the calm that neuroscience speaks of. By having a sacred architecture, the mind is freed from the endless, low-level anxiety of, what should I be doing now? The cognitive load is lightened. But the Sufi model adds the crucial second layer, intention. While the structure calms the procedural part of the brain, the intention awakens the higher centers of consciousness. The ritual of prayer is not just a habit of movement, it is a conscious act of presence and connection. This combination is the genius of the Sufi path. It provides the structure that the anxious mind craves and the meaning that the hungry soul needs. It is the perfect synthesis of science and spirit.
So, how do we begin to implement this in our own lives? To move from chaos to calm, from mindless habit to sacred ritual? The beauty of this path is that you start exactly where you are, with the life you already have. You do not need to add a single new activity. You simply need to bring the alchemy of intention to an existing one. Let us practice together, right now, with a ritual that most of us already perform every single day, the ritual of drinking a warm beverage. Your morning coffee, your afternoon tea. We are going to transform it from a 2-minute habit of consumption into a 2-minute sanctuary of presence. Wherever you are, I invite you to imagine your favorite cup in your hands. If you actually have one with you, even better. Before you take a sip, I want you to perform a simple 3-part ritual. First, the ritual of seeing. For just a moment, stop and truly look at the cup. Don't just register it as my mug. See it as if for the first time. Notice the way the light reflects off its surface. Observe the delicate wisp of steam rising from the liquid. Notice the color, the texture, the shape. You are not just holding a thing, you are holding a small, temporary vessel of warmth and life. Second, the ritual of intention. Before you drink, close your eyes for a brief second and set a simple, silent intention. It could be an intention of gratitude. I am grateful for this warmth, for this moment of peace. It could be an intention of purpose. May this drink give me the clarity and energy to serve well today. Or it could simply be an intention of presence. For this moment, I will do nothing else but be here and enjoy this. The words are not as important as the conscious act of dedication. You are elevating the act from the profane to the sacred. Third, the ritual of sensation. Now, as you bring the cup to your lips, engage all your senses. Feel the warmth of the ceramic against your hands and your lips. Inhale the aroma deeply, letting it fill your awareness. And when you finally take a sip, do it slowly. Let the liquid rest on your tongue. Try to discern the different notes of its flavor. Feel the warmth as it spreads through your body. For these few sips, let there be nothing else in the universe but you, the cup, and the sensation of drinking. That's it. The entire process may have taken 60 seconds. You have not added anything complex to your day, but you have done something radical. You have torn a small hole in the fabric of your unconsciousness. You have created an island of intentional calm in the chaotic river of your morning. You have transformed a mindless habit into a sacred ritual. You have taken a simple act and made it profound. This is the secret. This is the starting point. The key to a more meaningful existence is not hidden in a monastery or at the end of a pilgrimage. It is hidden in your coffee cup. It is hidden in the way you tie your shoes, the way you answer an email, the way you listen to a friend. The Sufi path teaches that our entire lives are a series of these small, seemingly insignificant moments. There are no unimportant moments. There are only moments of awareness and moments of unawareness.
Begin with one. Sanctify one small daily habit. Turn your morning coffee into a 2-minute meditation. Turn the act of washing your hands into a ritual of purification, washing away not just germs, but negative thoughts. Turn your daily commute into a ritual of observation, noticing the world outside your window instead of disappearing into your phone. Start small. The power of a ritual, like a habit, lies in its repetition. As you practice infusing one small act with intention, that quality of presence will begin to bleed into the rest of your day. You do not need to search for complex solutions to find the meaning you crave. The answer is, and always has been, right in front of you, disguised as the ordinary fabric of your life. The Sufi secret is that you already have everything you need to build a sanctuary. Your life is the stone, your attention is the chisel, and your intention is the sacred design. Start today. Pick one small stone and begin, with love and with presence, to carve.